Hi everyone, Rob here with Velocity Portfolio, back with another weekly update. This is week 47 that I've been fully living out of my brokerage account. What that means is all of my household income goes into this taxable brokerage account held at Robinhood. So I transferred over physically from my bank account to this taxable brokerage account, and then whatever the amount of that money is coming in, I invested into these three categories of funds and stocks. 60% of it is held in high yield, 20% is held and invested into dividend growth, and 20% is invested into growth. Then all of my monthly expenses and bills are paid for with margin from this portfolio. So I borrow the money to pay my bills against the positions that I hold, and that pays my bills. So money comes in from my income, gets invested immediately, and then I borrow against that money at a 4.5% interest rate to pay my bills. And then any dividends and options income that I receive in this account from these funds, I will use that to pay down my margin balance throughout the month. And then eventually, the amount of money that's being produced by this account will exceed my expenses. And at that point, I've reached financial independence and choices open up for me for what I want to do with the account going forward. I also currently sell about 10% of the gross value of the account in puts and calls, although I'm going to have an update on that. If anybody's been following recently, I have an update on my BITX position and some other things that I've been posting in the Discord this week. In addition to that, I also have the Velocity Impact Fund. So any income that is received from your guys' support, whether it be from YouTube or using any of the referral links from any of the software that I show in this video, gets invested into GPIQ, and the dividends I receive from that are given to charities. So jumping into Robinhood first, we'll take a look at the performance of the account so far. I just moved to Robinhood back in June. I have a video on that if you guys want to go back and check that out. So yesterday, Friday, the account was up 1.64%, and then a little bit more after hours, 0.20%. For the last week, I was actually down 0.7%. Over the last month, we are up 6.80%. And then last 3 months, which is not totally accurate because you can see I switched over here June 12th. So as of June 12th till now, the account's up almost 10%, 9.81%. Going over to the Paycheck to Portfolio dashboard, this is his software that I use, and I also have a link for as well if you guys want to check it out. You can see the gross portfolio account value is 274,789. You might notice that's a bit less than my last video that I did last week. And the reason why is because I was finally able to get out of my BITX position quicker than I would have liked, considering I had to take a little bit of a loss on it. But as anybody noticed, Bitcoin had a huge run up this week, as did BITX, and it just got too far away from me, and I was going to be assigned, so I decided to close the position. I will show the exact transactions here in a second, but you can see my net portfolio value still sits at 158,771. With that assignment of BITX and those shares getting the 700 shares I had getting called away, it actually dropped my margin from I was almost at $130,000 in margin used. Now I'm down to 116, which increased my equity to 57.8. If you recall, before I was assigned on my Netflix and BITX positions, my threshold is 60%. I want to stay 60% or higher. And the reason why is because I want to use 10% of that to use calls and puts. Well, a little bit of an update. I think I've decided again. I sold calls and puts before and then stopped. And then back in February of this year, I started selling calls and puts again. And I think I've decided that I'm going to stop again, at least in this account. But not necessarily because I was assigned on these calls. It actually really isn't because of that. It's more so because I want to maintain this threshold of what I think is my threshold, 60%, down to 50%. I want to use that 10% equity percentage instead of selling calls and puts. I want to use that as a buffer in case we have big drops in the market. I want to use that, be able to use that 10% anytime I want, regardless of when a paycheck goes in, to take advantage of opportunities like maybe a stock that I really believe in has a good earnings report, but has negative sentiment around it and it drops. And that might be an opportunity to jump in because I think it's temporary. Or some news comes out about, who knows, a new tariff or something with the Iranian war, whatever it might be, and it drops the price of a stock. What I think will be temporarily. I want to have that buffer to be able to scale into a position and not worry about getting below 50% equity. That's one of the reasons. But the main reason is because when I switched over to Robinhood, they hold 100% margin on your put positions. So they hold all of that money up front when you sell puts. When I was with Schwab, they don't do that. It was a percentage of that, much, much less. That is the main reason why I'm going to stop selling calls and puts in Velocity portfolio. I just don't want to deal with that. I am looking into doing spreads to alleviate that, but I'm not a pro in them. I need to watch some more videos. I need to get more educated and more experienced with them. I'm going to probably paper trade with them a little bit and just get really comfortable before I decide if I want to go back to selling calls and puts in this account. But for now, I'm going to put those on hold. Now, I am still selling calls and puts in my traditional IRA, and as I've alluded to many times and shown in the Discord, I am withdrawing half the premiums that I earn in my traditional IRA each month to deposit into this account, Velocity Portfolio, to increase it faster. So I will still be doing that, and I will be reporting on that. In fact, I will show those positions and some of the trades at the end of this video, as I do with every weekly update. And always, everything that I do, I try to post inside the Discord, which is completely free. So if you guys join the Discord, you get to see all this stuff live, the trades that I make, any updates to the impact fund, whatever it might be. You can see that in there. Also, we're up to about 285 members in that Discord. Again, it's free. I'll have a link in the description and in the comments of all my videos. So going back to the account itself, again, getting close to that equity percentage of 60%, I am still holding 100 shares of Netflix. When I'm able to get out of those, this should jump up close to 60%. Looking at the account details, you can see my available to withdraw is 26,234, and my safe to spend is 21,376. Going to transactions for the week, let's filter them by last Sunday, which was the 16th, through today, 22nd. Scroll down here. You can see a withdrawal of $150. This was actually, I have a gardener, it takes care of my house. This was to pay for that. BITX call I sold on Monday, and a Netflix call I sold, so 7 contracts on BITX, and then 7 contracts on my 1 contract, on my 100 shares of Netflix. And then you can see here gold card cash back. So all of the gold card cash back transactions or all the money that I receive from transactions from using the gold card, 3% cash back goes into GPIQ, which is the Velocity Impact Fund is invested into that account or that fund, and then the dividends are used to pay to charities. So you'll see a lot of those transactions. Withdrawal 4888. This was a credit card payment. $300 deposit. This was a reimbursement for something. Credit card rewards again, GPIQ, this is the Robinhood Gold Card. Withdrawal $29.30, I believe this was my electric bill or my gas bill, one of those two. Received a dividend from TDAQ of $158. More gold card cash back, $25.99, this was a credit card payment. Most of my, 98% of my expenses now go through the Robinhood Gold Card, but I do try to run one transaction through some of my other credit cards just so they don't get closed down. I have quite a few between me and my wife, so I want to make sure that they stay open. That way it doesn't hurt our credit if they get closed automatically. My margin interest on the 100 and what was closer to 130,000 up until yesterday was $458.99. So that is total for the month. In order to hold that, I had to pay $458.99 in interest to borrow that money, or keep borrowing that money. Dividend from BITX, again, before it was called away, $8.89. More gold card cash back into GPIQ. And you can see my deposit from yesterday. I put $1,057.65 into QDTE, and then $1,057.65 into TDAQ. So this was my income for the week from mine or my wife's W-2 income, and it gets invested immediately into these two funds, and I change it up every week. More gold card cash back, $17. And then finally getting back to the BITX positions, you can see I had 7 contracts, so 700 shares. I bought them back. My strike was $12.50. When I decided to buy them back, the price of BITX was over $17, so way deep in the money. I attempted to roll up to the 13 strike, but I'd have to go out to, I think it was 6 or 7 weeks to even get a credit, and the credit was $5. So I didn't want to hold them longer than that. I decided to bite the bullet and take the loss and I bought the calls back for $3,348, and then I immediately sold my 700 shares for $12,099.50. So for now, I just let this difference go towards the margin balance, and that's why it dropped from like $100 and almost $30,000 down to where it is right now at 116-ish, I think it was. Yeah. So I'm going to leave it at that because I want this equity percentage to be back up closer to 60%. That way I have that 60 to 50% buffer to take advantage of opportunities. So going over to Snowball to look a little deeper into some of the dividends, you can see with the BITX position getting called, or shares getting called away, it actually raised my income percentage to 12.47. It was about 11 and 3/4 or 11 and a half throughout the week, still generating $34,275 annually. You can see all the categories here. Options position is now down to 1, just to Netflix, which is getting closer to my cost basis. So I'm hoping I'll be able to get out of that pretty soon here. I will keep selling calls on Netflix until I'm able to get out of that position. And then I have the Velocity Impact Fund, and you can see 19.86. And then now the high yield category is up to 50, almost 58% of the 60% goal, so getting closer there. So this coming week, I might finally be able to split amongst the three instead of just going into high yield so much, and take advantage of some growth and dividend growth opportunities. Looking at dividends received so far for August, we've received $2,098.37 so far for the month. We have like 1 week left or so. And then you can see future payments, anticipating or estimated another $336.09, which would give me a total of $2,425.58, which would put me $10 less than last month. So it's going to be really close to even for July. And then going down to my goal remains the same. This is still high, 177 annually. I'm actually looking for 144 annually. You can see by 2032, your current goal is 144, adjusted for inflation, 177. I went pretty conservative on that. So all these numbers I plugged into this goal, I went pretty conservative on, and kind of a safer scenario. So that's why it's saying 6 years. I actually think it'll be closer to 4 or 5, but we'll just see what happens. And excitingly, I'm getting very close to that 1 year mark. I have 1 more month in September since I started this process in October, and then we'll start to see some comparisons year over year for dividend growth. This past Friday, was the largest payout that I've had. Typically is because all the NEOS funds pay out. So received 1.04K, so just yesterday alone, which was awesome. We just have the weekly payers coming again next week, QDTE, RDTE, XDTE, and then right now IDVO on the 31st, and that would wrap up the month of August. Looking at my diversification, so if I were putting money in today, what would I put it into? Well, I'd probably at this point split it between the 3 categories: growth, dividend growth, and high yield. So I would look at my lowest percentage allocated to those particular categories. So in growth, it would be Google right now is probably what I'd put that money into. It is the lowest, 1.76. And then I have IDVO in my dividend growth category, so I would probably put a third of my income for this coming week into IDVO. And then if I was looking at high yield, it would be SPYI. So as of right now, if that money was going in today, a third of it would be split 3 ways between SPYI for high yield, IDVO for dividend growth, and then Google or Alphabet for growth. Looking at the options trades for the week. So as I mentioned, I already went over the options trades in Velocity Portfolio. This is now my traditional IRA, where again, I am aggressively selling calls and puts around the 20 to 30 delta range. I stay in that area. I do use some technical indicators to decide on the strikes, but in general, I'm using the 20 to the 30 delta, and I sell only weeklies. And half of the premium that I earn every month will get pulled out and deposited into Velocity Portfolio to grow that account even quicker. So you can see all the positions I have open right now: APLD, ASTS, BITX, Hood, IREN, RGTI, Rocket Lab, SoFi, and SOXL. But if we go down to the calendar, we can see so far realized profit and loss for August. We're sitting at $1,396.29 on an account value of about $51,217. Last month was $24.47. Cash flow was a little bit different, $23.91. I probably should go by profit and loss more, but I did go by this number last month in July, so I withdrew $1,195 from the account this month to deposit into Velocity Portfolio. And if it stayed as it is right now, which it won't, I'm going to sell more next week, but I would withdraw roughly about $700 or so to deposit into Velocity Portfolio. So one other thing that is a bit of an update for me, I posed this question in the Discord yesterday. At my company, I actually received a company car last week that I am able to use for personal use, or I'm able to use personally for whatever I need it to. And with that, it got me questioning what I should do. I have 2 paid off vehicles currently. I have a small SUV that has roughly 85,000 miles on it, and I have a truck that has about 55,000 miles on it. Both of them are paid off. But the truck already hasn't been touched in like a week and a half since I got the car, and I'm like trying to find reasons to drive it, and there's just no reason to. I also, at my house, I have kind of a tight driveway, so it's making things a bit tricky there, which is not a reason. But I am considering selling my truck because I can get about $20,000 to $21,000 for it, and using that money to deposit into Velocity Portfolio to grow that account. And it just doesn't make sense to have a truck sitting in the driveway. I also would save money on insurance for it every month, and then when the time comes that I need another vehicle for whatever reason, I would have that money kind of put aside already in Velocity Portfolio, and I would just get a new car or a new truck when I needed it. So if you guys care to weigh in on that, what your guys' thoughts, what would you do in that situation with 2 paid off vehicles and a company vehicle I can use for personal use? Let me know what you guys would do. I posted it in the Discord yesterday, got some great feedback, and I generally agree with everybody there, but maybe there's something I'm not thinking about. If you guys care to comment on that, I'll look for that in the comments. Thank you. Last but not least, if you guys want to support me and support the channel, as I've mentioned, I have a link, an affiliate link for the Paycheck to Portfolio app, an affiliate link for Snowball, and an affiliate link for Option Income if you guys want to use any of these platforms and interested in helping me out. I do have affiliate links here. You can also track my portfolio at Snowball here. The link to my free Discord is here, and I also have YouTube membership, so if you guys want to join, you guys can do that as well. It looks like there's a promo going on. I didn't even know that. So 100% of first month membership, so 0, but typically a $3 and $5 tier there. No paywall content or anything like that. It's literally just to support me. But reminder that all of this, if you guys use any of these affiliate links or join the membership, that money will go into the Velocity Impact Fund, and that will go into GPIQ, and the dividends are given to charity. Right now, quick update on that, Velocity Impact Fund, it's going to an organization called Cantu Foundation, which is actually where I rescued my dog from. They go down to Mexico, they grab dogs off the streets that are in really bad shape. Sometimes I can't even watch the videos because it's so sad. I mean, they've gotten dogs with one eye and one leg missing, and it's really sad. But, I'm hoping to build this up. I donated $13.87 last month after a GPIQ dividend of $12.98. I'm hoping to just grow this more and more. You can see I received $105.56 from YouTube. I posted that in Discord this morning. I do have some Snowball money coming that will all go into this, but you can see it's growing pretty quickly, especially since I decided to start using the gold card cashback to deposit into GPIQ as well. So I'm hoping that these numbers will just continue to double and triple, and I envision a day down the road in the next couple of years, hopefully, where it's hundreds, if not thousands of dollars that I'm able to give back to various charities and organizations, or find things locally that I can give back to. It's just kind of always been a dream of mine. So thank you guys so much for supporting and watching. If nothing else, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it very much, and I look forward to talking to everybody in the Discord if you decide to join, or if you're in there already. Last but not least, I do have a video coming out. It'll be episode 3 of the Living on Margin series. I should have that out this coming week. I'm actually working and recording with them tomorrow, so look forward to that coming out very soon. Thank you again. Talk to everybody soon.